All praises to the Most High, all praises to the Most High. Blessed be our Father, Yahuwah Elohim Almighty. Blessed be the Ruach HaKodesh. Blessed be our Messiah, Yahushua Mashiach. Shabbat Shalom, Yazarel worldwide. And of course, I have another message to share with the listening ears of Yah's people. And family, this one here will be entitled, The Pope and the Church of Scotland Apologize for Slavery. Nevertheless, their end is written. And why has Yah already had their end already written? Because Yah knows all things, and he knew that there was going to be a time where our people were placed under them. They're also called the 70 shepherds in the book of Enoch. And our Father knew that they were never going to try to make us right after enslaving his chosen people for centuries. He knew that they were never going to offer us reparations or anything. So for doing what they did to Yah's people for centuries and never tried to make us whole, they have to pay. That's why the end is written. That's why the end is written. And family, I will be coming out of the Old Testament pseudepigrapha first, and then the Book of Mormon, and then some from the 66, and then I'll be closing out from the Book of Enoch. Okay, so that little apology that the Pope made over in Africa, as well as the Church of Scotland going to the Hamites, who also captured our people in Africa when they was over there in exile, and sold them to the colonizers. And so the Hamites accepted the apology from the Pope and the Church of Scotland. But see, it makes no difference. They are all in the same boat. They all are part of Psalm 83. The people who destroyed the chosen people of Yah. For all of these centuries, every country you look around in the world, we, the so-called Negroes, are purposely put at the bottom. And that's where the nations have been collectively to keep us at the bottom. And the Pope and the Church of Scotland have the audacity to say we're sorry about slavery, but they go to Africa where our people were sold off auction blocks to the colonizers and apologize to them. And they accepted it because their ancestors weren't slaves. You know, but see, that's just more mockery. And there's more, judgments coming against them. And then somebody asked me in a comment, but I deleted it because you're going to ask me 2 days or so after I did the video about Shahid Bosun. It is not his job to speak for the Israelites. I deleted your comment because, you just said something. You don't know what you're talking about. It's not his job, of course. It's nobody's job, but if you want some mercy from our Father when he sends our Messiah back here to take down the Psalm 83 nations, if you do have knowledge about the chosen people of Yah and what has happened to us all this time, and you don't speak it out, and you don't speak on our behalf, you keep that knowledge to yourself, like Shahid Bosun and many other people in the world are doing, so when our Messiah is sent back here, you get no mercy. You get no mercy. See, you people from Psalm 83, you will be judged by how you treated Yah's chosen people. Not by how you treated each other, but how you treated Yah's chosen people. So if you had good sense, if you have knowledge about what has happened to us, you'd be wise to speak on our behalf before the judgment of Yah comes down on your head. Okay, family. Now, we are chilling on the Sabbath. Yes, we are. You're going to go through a lot, family, in this world.
How the law is done away with. My advice to you is just ignore them.
Ignore them, family.
Keep the Most High first and keep His law.
That's what we're doing over here. We resting. We're chilling on the Sabbath.
That's what we doing. We chilling on the Sabbath.
We're chilling on the Sabbath.
Y'all go to church on Sunday. They all confused.
We're chilling on the Sabbath.
We're chilling on the Sabbath. The seventh day of the week.
We're chilling on the Sabbath.
Sundown.
Saturday, sundown. Said we're chilling on the Saturday
while everybody's out
doing what they want to do. We're reading scriptures and singing to the Most High,
'cause we know the law,
and we keep up all His holy commandments.
so let people say
What they want to say, let them mock you for keeping His day, yeah.
we gon' be ready when Christ returns. They be having church on their own day,
And they despise everything that we say, yeah. Even when we show them in the holy word. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy.
and we should always
Honor the Most High and do exactly what He said.
and don't let the non-believers convince you
That the law was done away with. You just rest and chill with the Most High, 'cause the Father knows who's here. So you tell them
we're chilling on the
Sabbath.
say we're chilling.
We're chilling on the Sabbath.
Don't call me, I won't even answer.
And somebody else asked me not too long ago, why are you if our Messiah is coming on a white horse, where are the horses kept? Some stupid stuff, you know what I'm saying? Just want some attention, and why are you people so angry and stuff like that? I just deleted the comment, you know what I'm saying? If you want to know these things, get into the word of Yah. We don't owe our enemies in any kind of explanation. Now I'm going to teach this word to my family, the Yazarel. If you people from the nations want to hear what Yah has to say about your future, tune in. Okay? But for that person who asked me that, why are you so angry? I'm not angry. But sometimes when Yah has called you to deliver the word, you read in the book of Ezekiel, family, it says that Yah gave Ezekiel a spirit of anger to go to Yazarel to teach them when it says they are a stiff-necked people. You know what I'm saying? So when Yah is trying to get people's attention, you know what I'm saying, He will put a spirit, you know what I'm saying, a certain kind of spirit in a man and a woman to speak His word, to let the people know that He means business. Ain't got nothing to do, I ain't angry at nobody, you know what I'm saying? But if this is the teaching spirit that Yah has given me, this is the one I will use. Don't try to quench it. It's no anger like I'm finna go out and do something wrong to nobody. I don't have nothing against nobody. You know what I'm saying? But for that person who asked me that question, you don't understand why we feel like we feel, because this has not happened to you or your people. You know what I'm saying? But you will see how we feel when the time comes that those from the nations are allowed to be in Yahushua Mashiach's kingdom under Israel, Yazarel. They will serve us for 1,000 years. You see what I'm saying? See, our people, do some research, have been slaves for centuries to all the Gentile nations in the world, made to work sun up and to sundown, all kinds of weather. Winter, sun, sleet, snow, or fall. They had to get up to work with no pay. No pay. Not only that, raped, murdered, beat, had limbs cut off, all kind of things done to them. Some of them were castrated. The girls and the women, Israelites, were made sex slaves for centuries. And you ask me how we feel. Let that happen to your people, and you come and tell me how you feel. You'll say something, oh, I see what you mean now. See, but this never happened to your people, so you don't understand us. That's all I'm going to say to you. So, family, I'll start reading out from the book of the Old Testament Pseudepigrapha, and I have some passages to read to show the guilt of the church, the Roman Catholic Church, the Church of Scotland, and all the rest of these pagan churches that they fake God on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? This passage here is called the Sentences of facilities. That's it. Facilities. Pseudo facilities. Okay, so just some passages I'm going to read out here, and you'll see some of the stuff their church is guilty of, and they hold themselves not guilty. They think they can just come with some lame apology and say they sigh about slavery and what happened, you know what I'm saying? But they still haven't gotten down to the nitty gritty of, repenting of what they have done to us. Because if you mean true repentance, and if you mean this by the people that your church took part in destroying, you made no effort to try to make us whole again. You have offered us no reparations or nothing. So I'm sorry, after enslaving, kidnap, rape, robbing our people for centuries, you think this I'm sorry is going to get it? Don't make us laugh. You make yourself look even more stupid. But see, that's the pride that these people have. But you don't dictate how your future ends. That's already been written. Tune in. I'm going to show you some of it. Okay. The sentences of pseudo facilities. Okay. It says right here in a few verses, some of the stuff the churches are guilty of. Neither devise trickery nor stain your hands with blood, what they have done to our people for centuries, slavery, raping and robbing our people. Do not become rich unjustly like they did, selling our people around the world and getting rich, but live from honorable means. And you got places in England, like England, the Vatican, all these places where, there's no gold in the ground in Europe, nowhere. How did they get all that gold that they have? They stole it. They stole it. Do not become rich unjustly. See, they breaking all Yah's laws and think they gonna get away with it scot-free without being judged. As I continue, family, do not tell lies, but always speak the truth. What they've been lying for centuries about what they've been doing. And now the reason why they're coming out trying to apologize, because they know their reign has come to an end. And they think they're going to get away from being judged from what they have done to our people for all these centuries by saying, I'm sorry. That don't cut it. You have authority in the world's churches because y'all on top of everything. But you have no authority in the courts of heaven. The just judge, our Father Yah, runs that. And that's who y'all going to have to face. And some of y'all are just going to get thrown straight into torments. And you'll see that in this message too. Always dispense justice and let not your judgment be influenced by favor. They've shown favor to all the rest of the nations in the world except for Israel, Yazarel, the true Israelites. And then, for this person to say, why are we so angry? I mean, it's like, hey, the truth has already come out. You dig? How they turn all the nations against us is when people from other nations around the world come to America through immigration. And this is when they slander the Israelites, the so-called Negroes. This is where they slander us to all the world's nations. They show them films and stuff of people in our neighborhoods, young dudes on the corner, probably selling drugs. They got hidden cameras and stuff like that. And they try to paint the picture to the foreigners like this is all of us. They don't work. They lazy. They just steal. They can't be trusted. Don't hang out with them. Don't be their friends. This is how they slander all of the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, to all the other nations that come into this country. This is what they do. And then so when the people get done with immigration and stuff, and you see them all in the cities in America, and you wonder, us so-called Negroes wonder why they got so much hate toward us. We didn't bring the hate toward them. They came over here and brought the hate toward us. This is what the immigration people in America, this is what the American government did to us. They made the other nations of people in the world hate us. So it's like, okay, so, we tried to be their friend. We tried to accept and receive anybody who wanted to be cool with us while we was under our curses. But see, that ended in 2019. So now we don't give a crap. We don't give a crap at all about that. Now they trying to be next to us. No, get on back, bag up. You weren't trying to be our friend when we were still under the curses, when y'all was getting all your blessings, getting thousands of free per month. You know what I'm saying? They might have gave it to sisters who had children as long as the child's father wasn't in the home with that Section 8 stuff. And then, they done stole so much money from that. Section 8 in Minnesota's closed because all them foreigners they let come over here, they robbed them blind. But see, as long as Negroes wasn't doing it, they let it happen. For years, the politicians let it happen. See, all the nations, are conglomerate against us. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like even Medicaid. I know in Minnesota, I don't know about the rest of the nation, rest of the states, but I know in Minnesota, even they robbed Medicaid blind. They done stole hundreds of millions of dollars from Medicaid and housing. So me being retired, and I was on Medicaid for a while, and at least I had it long enough to get a tooth pulled. But I just got a notice from them saying, they're closing it because they ain't got no more money, and they're gonna put me on another medical thing starting June the 1st, and then I'll get a card from there. But see, they let the foreigners come over here from all these countries. And I'm not saying all foreigners, but the ones, that didn't want to work and stuff, and they just wanted to live off the welfare and all that. They robbed the system blind. These setting up fake daycare centers and all that. You know what I'm saying? But this is Psalm 83. Psalm 83 did this. That's why this country is $38 trillion in debts. Well, the Negroes haven't been in control of all the money coming in and out of this country. Psalm 83 has, and Esau. They've been in control of this country and the world. And look at the condition this country and the rest of the world is in. You see? But they want to paint a picture like we are the no good savages in the world. But they done destroyed the whole earth. And they're going to pay for it too. With the judgments of Yah. Because of how they treated his people for centuries. As I continue, family, always dispense justice and let not your judgment be influenced by favor. And they've had favor toward all other nations but us. The churches are guilty of all this stuff. Do not cast down the poor unjustly. Do not judge partially. They're guilty of all this. If you judge evilly, subsequently, Elohim will judge you. All this stuff that churches are guilty of, and they think they're going to have to pay. Flee false witness. Award what is just. Do not make a balance unequal, but weigh honestly. These are the words of Yah. Do not make a balance unequal, but weigh honestly. This is what they have been doing against us the whole time. And they have the audacity to think that they are not going to be judged by what they have done to us. It's ludicrous. These people are out of their minds, And do not commit perjury, neither ignorantly or willingly. And I forgot, I do got a little video to show y'all. Okay? The immortal Elohim hates a perjurer, whosoever it is who has sworn. Let me get to that right now. Get it on out the way. You almost made me throw up. It's just a clip about, it's not even a minute. Not even a minute long. But I almost threw up when I just came across it on YouTube earlier today. What do I do with that? Hold on. Well, family, I'm going to have to show it to y'all another time. Maybe I'll just post it after I do this video and let y'all see. But, it's saying like America has been giving the state of Israel $3.8 billion every year. And the guy who's, doing the video, they call themselves the Israel guys. You know what I'm saying? They robbed us of our name, our identity, our heritage, our land, our native tongue, our ancestors, our history. They stole everything from us and has never tried to make us whole, and think that's all they can say is, I'm sorry, because of slavery that lasted centuries. And they think that's all they need to do. These people must not be playing with a full deck. Okay, but please wait before I read the scriptures, family. You'll see what that feature is all about. Okay, take heed of your tongue. Keep your word hidden in your hearts. Neither wish to do injustice, nor therefore allow another to do injustice. Okay, just a couple more of these. When you have wealth, stretch out your hand to the poor. Of that which Elohim has given you, give of it to the needy. The Vatican Church sitting on, tons of gold reserves. A lot of those European places where people were slaves, they haven't said hen dog here to us the whole time they've been over us. But they will have to pay. They will have to pay. And you'll see in Scripture. Okay, I'm not going to take too much more time on these. Do not dig up the grave of the deceased, nor expose to the sun what may not be seen. They are the only people that do these things, these Gentiles, Esau. Go around the world digging up people's graves, stealing stuff out of, what I'm saying? All these things are against Yah's spiritual laws. And they are guilty of committing all of them. And they think they're never going to have to pay. See, the reason why they're not paying now, because they're still in charge of Esau's kingdom, Satan's kingdom. But see, Satan's kingdom, Esau's kingdom is coming to a close. And then when our Messiah is sent back here, this is when they all will pay. There won't be no room for repentance. If they ain't speaking the truth now to us, they probably won't. Yah has hardened their hearts because they got judgments coming. Now, family, I'll be in the Book of Mormon. In 1 Nephi 13, verse 1 to 9. And it says here, and it came to pass that the angel spake unto me, saying, Look, and I looked and beheld many nations and kingdoms. And the angel said unto me, What beholdest thou? And I said, I behold many nations and kingdoms. And he said unto me, These are the nations and kingdoms of the Gentiles. And it came to pass that I saw among the nations of the Gentiles the formation of a great church. Your Catholic Church, your Roman Catholic Church, and the largest church in the world, right? And the angel said unto me, Behold, the formation of a church which is most abominable above all other churches, which slaveth the saints of Elohim. The saints of Elohim is talking about the Israelites, family. Because remember, Yah says in his word, You among all other nations have I known. He only gave his word to Israel. Turn to Psalms chapter 147, verse 19 and 20. He only gave his word to Israel, so we were the saints that these scriptures are talking about. The Most High's elect, the Israelites, and that the church took us down. They're guilty of that, and they have not paid. They will serve judgments from Yah in his time. Yea, and tortured and them, and bindeth them down, and yoked them with a yoke of iron, and bringeth them down into captivity. And it came to pass that I beheld this great and abominable church, and I saw the devil, that he was the founder of it. Satan's church, the Catholic Church, Church of Scotland, all the rest of them pagan churches around the world that serve a false god on Sunday. Missionaries going all through Africa, they going down too. All that's paganism. See, they have no authority over our scriptures. You know what I'm saying? They have no authority to hijack our scriptures from us when they have taken us down, enslaved us for centuries, never ever tried to make us whole by offering us reparations or anything. And on the top of that, they hijack our scriptures, go around the world acting like they're so peaceful, but inside they're ravenous wolves, trying to teach our word to other nations that they have already conquered. And it's another thing to curse themselves from generation, from the offspring, from all the way up to the day of judgment, for taking land that didn't belong to them. So they're guilty of all these things, and they have never tried to make it right with the people they stole these things from, the Israelites. Okay? So they have no authority and no moral authority to take our scriptures from us and go around the world and try to act like they are peaceful when they have destroyed the nations on the earth. Okay? But Yah has a word for them when he sent out Messiah. I'm going to read that to you too. Verse 7 says, And I also saw gold and silver and silks and scarlet and fine twined linen and all manner of precious clothing. And I saw many harlots. Harlots, those are the daughter churches of the mother church that serve a false god on Sunday, the one they call white Jesus. Those are the harlots of the mother church around the world, even in this country. And the angel spake unto me, saying, Behold, the gold and the silver and the silks and the scarlets and the fine twined linen and the precious clothing and the harlots are the desires of this great and abominable church. And also for the praise of the world do they destroy the saints of Elohim and bring them down into captivity. They brought us down and destroyed the Israelites to get the praise from the rest of the nations around the world. Now is the picture starting to come clear to you, Yazarel. The Roman Catholic Church did these things. You know, the Spaniards came over here. Okay? I'm talking about Turtle Island. When I say Turtle Island, the Israelites were in all of it. North America, Central America, South America, the Caribbean islands, and the Virgin Islands. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what Christopher Columbus set his foot at. Eventually, more Spaniards came with Cortez and took the Israelites down all throughout Turtle Island. I'm saying it like this because somebody, you know, gonna say, Christopher Columbus never set foot in America. He came to Haiti. I just deleted the comment, you know what I'm saying? You know, you too slow to catch up with what we're talking about here. You know what I'm saying? You're too slow to catch up. You know what I'm saying? This is not, you know, for the, I'm going to leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? But the Spaniards took down the Israelites over here first. No matter where they set foot at, but they eventually came and took over Turtle Island, all of it. The Caribbean islands and the Virgin Islands, North America, Central America, and South America. And brought other people in here to claim it as if they are the people of the land. So they haven't paid for any of that because our Messiah hasn't been sent back here to take them down, and he eventually will. Okay, now from the Book of Mormon to some of the 66. Okay, now in the first ones in the book of Revelation I'll be reading, family, will be Revelation chapter 13. Now, I just read in the Book of Mormon that the abominable church took down the saints, which are the Israelites, you know, and brought us into captivity to get the praise from the rest of the nations around the world. Okay? And they think by sending the Pope to Africa and the Church of Scotland to Africa to say they're sorry about slavery, we're sorry about slavery, and think that's all they need to do. But see, you don't get to dictate how your future ends because of what you did. Okay, now Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. This is what you got coming. This is what you Psalm 83 nations has coming for what you did to Yah's chosen people around the world. You don't get to dictate how this ends for you. It's already written. So don't get comfortable just because the Pope said a dry apology that means nothing to us in the Church of Scotland. So all you people who are part of Psalm 83, please don't get comfortable and like you feel good since they apologize for you. Well, that apology means nothing. We're not accepting it. Your future has already been written. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Okay. Now, Matthew chapter 7. Now, this is what our Messiah going to say to those missionaries who go around the world trying to act like they all, you know, like a sheep in wolf's clothing. That's what they are. And already took everything from us. Now they're trying to act like they about peace in a pagan Catholic church. Oh, we about peace now. Yeah, you done took everything from everybody in the world, especially the Israelites. All this land over here. Everything they took from us. Kidnapped, raped, robbed, and murdered our people. They killed way too much. Way more of our people than y'all gave them authority to do so. And I'm going to be reading that. before this message is over with. Okay, family, I said the book of Matthew, and this is what I'm going to say to the missionaries. Okay, Matthew chapter 7, verse 15 to 16, it says here, beware of false prophet. Our Messiah is talking to the disciples, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. You should know them by their fruits. Jumping down to verse 20, and it says, wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. Not everyone that said unto me, Adonai, Adonai, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Verse 22, many will say to me in that day, Adonai, Adonai, have we not prophesied in thy name? Who do this kind of stuff? People who go to church on Sunday, the missionaries and stuff. And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. That's what he's going to say to the missionaries. They try to act all holy with their soft talk and stuff like that, like they're all peaceful. But inside, I'm a call them ravenous wolves. And sometimes that's all that you need to do is look in their eyes and see how evil they are. Years ago, when I was a deacon at a church in Minneapolis, it must have been either 2012, 2013. It wasn't 2014 yet, because that's when I asked to be released from that church. But during the time I was a deacon over there, I was on the outreach team. I was a part of the praise and worship team. I was a part of the choir, the men's ministries. I was an usher. I was involved. But anyway, this one brother, he had a group of young men. VJ Smith, he was the president of Mad Dads. And he was a member of that church that I was a member of in North Minneapolis. And so we would go out, the group that I was with, we would go out and do outreach on Fridays. And we was prepared to go out. And then VJ and his men were prepared to go do their outreach in the neighborhoods, in the cities, And VJ, me and him was talking. And he said, man, he wanted me to be a part of it, but I was already involved in the outreach. But we were just talking. And then at that time, the chief of police of Minneapolis, Janae Harteau, okay, VJ, the president of Mad Dads, introduced her to me. He said, hey, Chief Harteau, this is Deacon, and I went to shake her hand. I'm talking about Yazarel, the way that woman looked at me, I'm talking about, she gave me the coldest look, And I was like, whoa. Like she gave me a look in the eyes. It's like, I hate niggas. You know what I'm saying? She smiled, with VJ, you know what I'm saying? But the rest of your people, and she had to resign, because that's when Minneapolis was having so many murders up here, way before George Floyd got killed. I had told my friends and family from Indiana, I said, if y'all ever come up here, please be done with crime. If you know what I'm saying? Because up here, these police, they kill like 40 going north. And then when they killed George Floyd in 2020, one of my homies, who was down in, he's from Gary, my hometown, but he had moved to Nashville, and we kept in touch. He said, man, you told me that years ago, man, how they just killed. I said, man, that's just the one that they got in the news nationally. But they kill our people up here all the time. There was one 15-year-old boy running from the cops in North Minneapolis in 2004 or something. He had nothing in his hand, 15 years old. A white cop blew his brains out. And you heard nothing about that on the national news. But they have been killing our people like that. See, all this killing of our people, and you will see in closing, when I get to the book of Enoch, what Yah is going to do to them. All this killing our people unjustly, way more of our people than they were supposed to take out. Okay, so I want to look up this word. Our Messiah going to tell these missionaries, and then when I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. The meaning of iniquity. Listen up, family. In the Bible, iniquity refers to premeditated, habitual, or deep-seated wickedness, what the Catholic Church has been doing. And all the rest is Psalm 83. What does it say? Well, a simple sin is an isolated mistake. Iniquity describes an ongoing lifestyle of disobedience, a hardened heart, or a systematic injustice. This is what Psalm 83 has been doing to Yah's chosen people, making laws and only making sure that we, are victimized by those laws. They let everybody else get away with it. You know what I'm saying? So y'all see the unjust weights that they have been doing since they've been in power over us. Okay, and the last one in the 66 family will be Revelation chapter 19, when our Messiah comes back. Okay, starting at verse 11 to 15. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. For that person who asked me, where the horses at? If they coming on horses, they're in heaven. Get in your word and study. And quit asking questions. Okay? And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. That wasn't one of my people. That was somebody from the nations trying to be sarcastic. Okay, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Elohim. So they are coming with the angels, our Messiah is, at the word of the Most High. Our Messiah is coming to execute the wrath of the Father against Psalm 83 nations. And that pagan church of Satan, the Catholic Church, will be brought down. All of them who have abused our people for centuries and has not made any attempt to try to make us whole, family. So in closing, family, I'll be in the book of Enoch, starting at chapter 89, from 1 to 6 verse. And it says here, and I observed the time that thus 37 shepherds were overlooking, all of whom finished in their respective periods as the first. Others then received them in their hands, that they might overlook them in their respective periods, every shepherd in his own period. Afterwards I saw in the vision that all the birds of heaven arrived, eagles and avids, kites and ravens. The eagle instructed them all. The symbol of America, the eagle. Now these birds and animals are described as the nations, and Israel, God's chosen people, are described in this book as the sheep. Enoch was having a dream, okay? All right? Yah was showing him this. What's going to happen to the nations for what they have done to his people. Listen up, family. They began to devour the sheep, to peck out their eyes, and to eat up their bodies. The sheep then cried out, for their bodies were devoured by the birds. This is how our people ended up in the valley of dry bones, destroyed because the world's nations had destroyed us. Okay? I also cried out and groaned in my sleep against the shepherd which overlooked the flock. And I looked while the sheep were eaten up by the dogs, by the eagles, and by the kites. They neither left them their body, nor their skin, nor their muscles, until their bones alone remained, until their bones fell upon the ground, and the sheep became diminished. That's what the nations did to Yah's chosen people. Okay, in closing, verse 25 to 33, family. And the story continues. Then I saw that the man who wrote the book at the word of the Adonai opened the book of destruction, of that destruction which the last 12 shepherds wrought, and pointed out before the Adonai of the sheep that they destroy more than those who preceded them. I I saw also that the Adonai of the sheep came to them, and taking in his hand the scepter, or the scepter of his wrath, seized the earth, which became rent asunder, while all the beasts and birds of heaven fell from the sheep, and sunk into the earth which closed over them. I saw too that a large sword was given to the sheep, who went forth against all the beasts of the field to slay them. But all the beasts and birds of heaven fled away from before their face. And I saw a throne erected in a delectable land. Upon this sat the Adonai of the sheep. This is our Messiah coming back, who received all the sealed books which were opened before him. Then the Adonai called the first 7 white ones and commanded them to bring before him the first of the first stars, which preceded the stars, whose form partly resembled that of horses. The first star which fell down first, and they brought them all before him. And he spoke to the man who wrote in his presence, who was one of the 7 white ones, saying, Take those 70 shepherds to whom I delivered up to the sheep, and receiving them, killed more of them than I commanded. Behold, I saw them all bound and standing before him. First came on the trial of the stars, which being judged and found guilty, went to the place of punishment. This is their end. They don't get to dictate what happens to them for what they have done to Yah's people for all these centuries. It is already written. They thrust them into deep and full of flaming fire and full of pillars of fire. Then the 70 shepherds were judged, and being found guilty, were thrust into the flaming abyss. That's Psalm 83. With the Roman Catholic Church, the Church of Scotland, and the Pope, and everybody who's been siding with them. And some of Yazarel who won't hold on to this truth and keeping Yah's 10 commandments and honoring his Sabbath day and honoring his holy days. 2/3 of Yazarel will go down with Psalm 83. These 70 shepherds who have killed way more of our people than Yah had given them authority to do so. So that's your future. That's your future. So that little dry, I'm sorry for slavery that came from the Pope and the Church of Scotland means nothing to us. Don't get too glad because you heard that if you're from Psalm 83, because he don't get to dictate what their future will be. It is already written. Family, I hope you got some understanding, okay? So this has been the Pope and the Church of Scotland apologizes for slavery. Nevertheless, the end is written. So Yazarel, like I said, I hope you got some understanding. May Yah bless you and your families. Stay safe, one love, and all those that are trying to cling to us. Shalom.